Well, hi again, it's Alan from Novi Most. It's the second of the video devotionals for the Novi Most Prayer update. And we're still in Acts. Now we're in the second half of chapter 16. And this time we're looking at another one of those situations where Paul and this time Silas, they come into confrontation, they come into a bit of conflict with the local authorities. And this time it's because there's this woman who's following them around while they're doing their ministry, and she's just annoying them. She's got this gift of being able to tell the future, and she's always like chasing after them and saying stuff to them, and just basically being a distraction. And so what Paul does is he gets annoyed, and then he turns around and he casts the spirit out. Okay, and then this causes all sorts of trouble. I suppose one less niche in the local service sector industry in terms of people spending money, and of course one less tourist attraction, just in case people like to come from all over to get their future told by this woman. And so they come into conflict, and the people accuse them of sedition, breaking, advising people to break the law. Anyway, they end up in the prison, and while they're in the prison, they're obviously a witness to everyone around them, and then there's an earthquake. The shackles all fall off, and they could just escape. Well, what happens then is that the jailer, he's afraid for his life, and he decides he's going to kill himself because that's a better option than his boss is dealing with him. So Paul and Silas and the others, they say, look, none of us have escaped. We're still here. Don't worry about it. And so what's going on in this section of the Bible, in this section of Acts? Because it ends with the jailer and his whole family becoming Christians. Not just the jailer, but his whole family becoming Christians. And it's an incredible thing. And the title of this video is The Gospel Does It Differently. And right from the beginning you see that Paul and Silas, they do it differently with the gospel. And so when this woman annoys them, and yet being annoyed is part of being a human being, it's part of being a Christian, it's even part of being a Christian worker. Sometimes you just get annoyed. But, Paul, I think it was Paul in the New Testament, he said, our battle is not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities and powers. And so he doesn't fight her. He doesn't have a go at her. He doesn't lash out at her. He sees it for what it is, and he casts the spirit out. And so that's an interesting thing, because when people get annoyed, people think, oh, that's acting in the flesh. But for Paul, he still acted in the spirit even while he was annoyed. And that's a challenge for us today, maybe, to remember to live by the spirit, to see things, in the invisible, not just what we see visibly in front of us. To remember, that there's a spiritual world, that our battle isn't against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. Just remember that one for today. And then he does it differently again. And when he's in the prison with Silas and all the others, they could just say, oh, look what God's done. He's sent an earthquake and we're out. But he didn't. Again, living by the Spirit, detecting what's going on, not just in the physical. And they don't escape. In fact, it's like they don't even discuss not escaping. They're just all on the same page in terms of what they're thinking about, and they just don't escape. Incredible. And so they do it different again, and here's the thing: is that if they had have said, "Oh, God's done it," they'd have just run off. The jailer would have got killed, and that would have been it. But what happened instead? What happened instead was that the jailer said, "What do I do to be saved? You've saved me physically. What about spiritually?" And then his whole family gets saved, and that's the end game in a sense for this episode. And it's just a reminder: let's live by the Spirit, let's think by the Spirit, let's respond by the Spirit. And that's not easy. I know that from personal experience. Even these last 2 or 3 days, I was walking down the street where we live here in Mostar, and something happened. This woman came out and attacked us, and what a difficult situation. And did I live by the Spirit? Did I respond by the Spirit? Well, I think I might have to learn a thing or two. I might need God to help me on that one. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for praying for us. See you next time. Bye-bye.